Hey guys, welcome back to Cheney's TCG store. I have another market watch for you today. I wanted to start by apologizing. There might be some background noise. I think they're out there trimming the hedges or something. But the first card I have for you today is Dimensional Barrier. And we're going to take a look at all versions. For the Invasion of Vengeance Secret Rare, unlims are starting at 10, really 830 here for light play, and then going on up towards like 18 for first edition, maybe even more than that. But the Mega 10 secret rares are around $10+ as well. I'm actually going to filter here, and we'll take a look at first edition and filter for near mint or lightly played and near mint. Okay, so we got $18 for near mint first edition original print. Not too bad there. And then for the reprint secret rare from the Mega 10s, it's around $10, $11. I actually just sold two of mine for 10 for the Mega 10 reprints. I just decided I'm okay with just playing the ultra rares for $1 since I picked these up for like $4 or $5 each. I still have one left I'm going to keep in the collection for now, but I might list that up as well. But just something to keep your eye on if you pick these up when they were cheap. I think at a certain point these Mega 10 reprints were like $1 a couple of years ago. But so if you want to offload them, that's fine. And then if you want to get an ultra rare, I mean, these are still really cheap. $1.40 is really not bad. Other than that, that's the only holo prints that we have of this card. Everything else is common. We do have a common reprint from Albaz, so if you bought the deck, you do have access to this card, but it's just really good, this format. And it's a card you should consider putting in your side deck, depending on what you're playing. I think if you're playing strikers, you can put it in your main deck if you wanted to. Next is Foolish Burial. So I've been seeing some buyouts around this card, and I think it's because it's just a card that every deck pretty much plays one copy of. I'm sure there's decks that you wouldn't, like, say, Flunderies, but for the most part, a lot of decks are playing this card, and it's kind of one of those trends we've seen with staple cards that you're playing in 80% of decks. Even though it is at one copy, a lot of the printings of this card are really old. So getting your hands on them, there's a diminishing supply of these. But the super rare from Turbo Pack Booster 2, it's going to be around $150 to $200 for like light play, and then up around $250 for near mint, and not only 12 listings there. The secret rare from Legendary Collection 4, Joey's World, is around $25 for lightly played first edition, going up to around $28 for near mint. I actually do have one of these. I picked it up when they were $6 or $7. So as you can see, I have mine listed here. Because I have other versions of this card, I have the Speed Duel secret rare, which is around $14, I believe. To me, it's just like I don't like this card that much that I wouldn't just sell it for $25, even though it is lightly played. It does look good though. If you wanted one, unfortunately this is kind of too high of a price to really pay for it. But if you really wanted it, it's not like unfairly overpriced. But compared to the $7 that it was for light play first edition like a year ago, it seems pretty high. Maybe not even a year ago. The Lost Art here is 17, going up to around 20 for near mint. I'm considering just selling this and picking up the Lost Art because I really do want to have one of these Lost Arts. I sold mine when I first got it from the OTS store, because this one's kind of old, and I wasn't like, I had just had like a common version at the time, and I wasn't like as into collecting then, but I wish I would have kept this card because I really do like it now. I think it's my favorite version. I just really like the artwork, even though I think that this secret rare though is a close second. Like it just looks really good, and it's got the old first edition stamp there, like where they used to do that. They don't do that anymore. Now it's in the bottom. But even the ultra rares from Battles of Legend Heroes Revenge, which is not that old, and the grand scheme of things, is still like $5, going up towards 6 or 7, which is crazy to me. Even the platinum rares are $8, which is absolutely disgusting. This card looks terrible. There's a gold rare, $5 going up to 6 or 7. Dual terminal at 4. Honestly, that's probably a decent one to pick up at this point. You know, being able to get those for $4 is really not too bad. You know, unfortunately, they didn't do it like the dot dual terminal. That's the kind that I like personally. I'm not as big a fan of the shatter foil, but it doesn't look terrible. And then after that, you know, that's it. You just have rares. There's really not that many printings of this card if you think about it, because this has been printed over so many years. You know, it's a really old card. But yeah, I would just make sure you have these, at least a copy for yourself. Doesn't really matter what version. I mean, there's the cheap rares available, but I would make sure that you have a holo version for yourself. And if you ask me, I think the best buy at this point is going to be the Lost Art promotion or the Speed Duel Secret Rare. We'll actually take a look at the Speed Duel Secret Rare because it was up to like 25 bucks not long ago. And then I think it kind of calmed down a little bit. I think people are like, why would I spend 25 on this when I can get like the Legendary Collection Secret Rare? So these are going for $11.50. Yeah, this is a great version to pick up for this price, honestly. And there's only 11 listings here. We get a 15 really quickly. And then bottoming out here to 20. Sakurasa, I see, has one. Somebody has 270 of these, so these aren't going to go above 20 probably for a long time. But I don't know, even 38 here at 15 bucks. So you're pretty safe. You don't need to like pick this up right away. But if you wanted to get these like cheap light plays, I understand it completely. Sorry, I keep like triggering this pop down that won't let me scroll. But here we go. I wanted to cover Dimension Force because there's kind of a lot of things that I've noticed going on. So a lot of the prices have collapsed. Ghost Spell is still holding, like 310 is actually up a little bit. I think people were kind of waiting to pull the trigger, but a lot of people are really going to want this card. Regulus at 247, you know, it was around 275, so that's a pretty good deal, roughly. You know, I don't know that I would spend 250 on this card. It's just like one of those cards that's going to hold value while it's being played, but you know, not really long term. Alba around 137. I would just stay away from this card. It's really not as good for the Despia strategy. Some people aren't even playing it. I will pick up a copy eventually. It's just not something I'm really in a hurry. It's not really going to affect the way my deck plays, really. I mean, it's nice to have, but it's not something like, oh, I can't play this deck if I don't have this card. Kuvature here is 62. Honestly, I mean, to me, this card kind of looks like a Dragon Maid card, but I think for 62, you might want to wait and see if it goes like 48 or 50, but it's a really good looking card that you could have in your collection. That's a Starlight rare, one of the cheapest Starlights out. It might even be the cheapest. There might be one that's 50, but honestly, my favorite cheap Starlight rare is Book of Lunar Eclipse, but this one looks pretty good. I really do like the way it looks. Magnifica at 160, honestly, it's not a bad pickup either because Exosisters are a really good counter to your Spite stuff. It's not really the best deck for against other strategies like Despia, but it counters Spite really well. So if we have a tier 1 or tier 0 format with Spite, which I don't know if we will or not, then it's going to be a pretty good card, or a pretty good deck to play. Regulus at 63, down quite a bit from that 90 price range. Visa Ultra Rare 27 to 30 here, which is pretty crazy to me. It does look good, but I kind of like the Secret Rare, to be honest with you, for this card because it's kind of a dark card. The boxes are 62. Psychic and Punisher at 23. You know, I said this probably was a good pickup when it was like 10 bucks. And it looks like it paid off, so hopefully you grabbed it. This card's actually really good for the Punk engine because there's not really a whole lot of level 11 options. And this is one of the best ones. Alba, the Abyss Dragon, $16 here. I would not be surprised if this goes down to like 12, to be honest with you, but we'll have to see. Beyond the Pendulum at 13, you know, like I know I talked about this. It's a good card, but we have to see Pendulum do well, or at least a lot of people want to play the deck. And I just never see Pendulum players like ever. I've been to multiple locals around Atlanta. If you play Pendulum, let me know, but I just never see anybody playing it. So I just don't think there's a large demand for this card. I think it's a good card to keep your eye on, but I do think it will hover around 10 to 12, maybe up to 15, but I don't think it's going to like fall out because I think if it was like $5, people would invest into it like I would, of course. Lily Borea back down to 18. That's not too bad either. But some of the key cards that I wanted to cover that have been moving is like Visa Starfrost is like now $10. I was able to pick up a couple of these at $6.50, and I thought that it was a good pickup personally. But these are 10 for light play, going up to 11 here for near mint, which seems fair to me. I kind of always thought this seemed like a $10 card, which is why I wanted to get it at $6.50. I thought that was like a pretty fair price to buy them at. I'm not going to be selling them though, because I just really like the card. I like the artwork for one, but it's actually a pretty useful card. Being able to tribute things off your field that you don't need and get a free tuner, and it's also a level 6 tuner, which is really nice. You know, if you have like say a level 4 on your board, you can tribute another monster and then go right into your Baron of the Floor or something. I think it's level 6. Yeah, it's level 6. Moving on though, Scareclaw Tryhard, $9. I would go ahead and sell it, honestly. I told you to pick this up and it was like $2.50, $3. But I would maybe just go ahead and sell it now, because I don't think that this deck is going to do anything. I just think this is kind of a little bit of hype, because the card is really good. It's just not $10 good right now with what we have. Maybe further down the line when we get a lot of support, it'll be better. But the Scareclaw engine is not really going to do anything, because it's, kind of locks you into Scareclaws. Deer Note 7, like I've been saying, like not a bad price to get it for. Illegal Knight, I do think that this card will rise in price over time. But we'll have to see, because right now the adventure token engine has been cut from a lot of decks. It's not really it's still seeing a lot of play. Like it's still one of the best selling engines in the game, but a lot of people aren't playing them. But I just like the free resources that you get with this card. Like if you just open it, I just think it's a good one up to play if you can't afford to afford to play an extra card in your deck. Magnifica, $5, like I said, same with the Starlight. I think it's a good card to have for $5, just for the future support we're going to see. Frenzy at $6. I think this is kind of like the bottom out price. It might go to like $4.50, but if you have been holding off, $6 is not bad, because this was like $25 to $30 on pre-sale, which I thought was ridiculous, but decent price for this and Rexterm. I went ahead and picked up my Rexterms, and I need to go ahead and pick up my Frenzies as well. I think another sleeper card in this might be Pendulum Graph Dragon. This one's the riskier pickup though. Like, yeah, it's still cheap, like $2.50, but we have to see it like see play. I don't think like on collectability alone it would go up. But I do think like it has pretty good effects. I think that it could be useful in like your ritual decks, but we'll have to wait and see. I'll probably just pick up a couple, just because I actually really do like the artwork of the card. Some people don't really like pendulum monsters, and I don't really either, but I think secret rare pendulum cards look pretty good, because you get that larger artwork. So I don't know, and it's also like dependent. Like I like this one, just like I like the Odd Eyes Revolution Dragon, I think it's called, or Evolution Dragon, that was in Rise of the Duelist. And I really like this one as well. But as far as looks, I know this card's like is terrible effect wise. They were just trying to play into waifu, but they could have done better with this card, made it like actually a useful card. I think that's everything. I do want to note that the branded banishment's back down to $1. So if you missed your chance to pick it up, $1 is fine. I will say overall, a trend that I've been noticing is all the Despia stuff is completely falling out in price. I think the reason is because after the ban list, everybody was expecting like, okay, well, they hit everything else that was tier 1, like Despia is going to be tier 0, and it's just proven that it's not really at all. It's still topping, it's still doing great, it's still the best deck, I believe, but it's not tier 0 by any measure. Sword Soul has been keeping up and sometimes outpacing. So I think a lot of people have started to sell off their stuff, and then there will be a certain point too where people are anticipating the release of splites and tier elements, and a lot of people will float towards those decks, and so there's going to be less demand for the Despia cards. And then also at this point, like everybody that wants Despia probably has already picked it up, especially as we're kind of going into the summer, which is like the competitive season where you have like your YCSs and nationals and stuff. So we will see a cool down at the end of the summer in general. And then we'll probably see some splice buyouts, but it's gonna be interesting to see. Next is Formula Synchron from Hidden Arsenal Chapter 1. This is up at $7 now, which is crazy because this card was literally like $1.80 when I opened this set. And then I said, go pick this up because this is a ridiculous price point for this card. I was able to pull 2 of these, so I'm pretty happy that I have one sealed and I'm also playing one. But yeah, if you pick these up at $1.80, if you wanted to sell a couple, that would be fine. I do think that this will probably stay under $10 for the near future. I don't think it's going to go do anything crazy. But yeah, that's pretty good. Like almost like a 4 or 5 fold increase there, which is pretty cool. This is like the only movement I've seen in this set, really. Next is Artifact Lancia, secret rare. These are around $6.70 going up to $7 here. This is the lowest price one I've seen this card in a while, like maybe a year. So if you were holding off on getting these, I would probably go ahead and get them. Yeah, as you can see here, they've been about $9 to $10 plus for a long time. Last time they're at this price point was July of last year. So I think there's no better time to pick this card up than now. This is just an easy flip card too. Whenever this card comes into the format, it's 10 to 15 bucks every single time. So if you can get this card for below $8, you're doing really, really good. This is just free money, really. Next is talents. So I know we've talked about this a lot in the last month or so, but these kind of, they were spiking up towards $75, $80 there for a little while, like not long ago, like the last couple of weeks. And then it's kind of cooled off back to $56 here for near mint. And the ultra rares are still holding like the $25 mark. But if you wanted to get your secret rare first editions, I think now is a great time to do it. Like I said, if we get another high rarity reprint, that'll kind of hurt a little bit, but Rise of the Duelist secret rares are pretty safe. Like we've seen them get reprints and it just doesn't really hurt their value that much. But $56 for this card is crazy to me. Like I do think that this is a solid $90 card. And it's really, really good, to be honest. Like I'm still playing it in a few of my decks right now. It's a really good counter to decks like Despia. Because they always are going to be activating effects on your turn with their Guardian Chimera and stuff. So it's nice to be able to take their resources or rip stuff out of their hand. So I would just consider picking this up. I would stay away from the ultra rares, and the reason is you're purely betting on the fact that it won't see another reprint. For example, if we got another, like say, super rare reprint or another secret rare reprint, the ultra rare is going to fall out really hard. And while the secret rare will fall out a little bit, it's just not going to go below $35. Whereas this could go down to like $5 or $6 if we got another high, like a secret rare reprint, like in a Battles of Legends set. And this will always, like, even though if it does see a temporary spike down, it will always come back up. Just because this is like really hard to get. I mean, there's only 44 listings here. And I rarely see more than 55 listings here of this card, and nobody has stacks of this card. So just a good card to hold long term. If you pick this up, when it was 55, 60, and you see that it's back down now, just don't worry. Like it'll go up over time. I really won't worry about this card, especially when we float into kind of like the national season and stuff. People will be picking these cards up last minute. Because a lot of times what you'll see with event, like big events like that, people will order the high rarity stuff and then immediately after the event sell it. So you want to sell into those events if you see a big price spike. But yeah, I just wouldn't worry. I'm not worried whatsoever with this card. I have 5 copies of the secret rare, and or maybe even 6, and I'm completely not worried about the price point of this card. Next, I wanted to cover Magical Spring. We saw this get like a buyout towards like $15 not long ago. I'll actually click in here to Duelist Alliance and see where it actually went. I know they were both down to like 8 listings or something crazy. It's not really reflecting here in the price charts per se. It says $8, which might be right. Maybe it was like 8 to 10. But these are kind of floated back down a little bit. You got Lightly Played Unlimited here for $4, Lightly Played First Edition for $4, which is about half, that price of $8, and then Near Mints here for $4.22. So if you wanted this card, I think now is fine. I think this card's good. It's just, hold on, I gotta plug my computer in, it's dying. I was gonna say, I think this card is good. I honestly don't think that this card is as good as something like Shared Ride, but I do think that it's a cool card and something that you might want to have in your collection long term. And this card is also subject to frequent buyouts. So even though this card never sees play, if this shows up in someone's side deck, in a top cut of an event, or people just start talking about this card in general, it will definitely spike up in price. Sorry, my laptop's not plugged in. Don't want to lose this video. All right, perfect. But yeah, just something to keep your eye on. I think the reprint secret rare is also around $3 or $4, but I would stick with the original and not mess around with the mega pack reprint. And then speaking of Shared Ride, the last card that we're going to do here is the Legacy of the Valiant original print secret rare. These have floated back down quite a bit. These are down to $6.25 for lightly played first edition. And if you look at the price history here, it had been around like 15, and honestly, there was a time period where it was much more, like towards 18 or 20. Yeah, 23 back here, the end of last summer. I think this is a great time to pick this card up, get these cheap copies here. After those sell, near mint unlimited $7.77. Like I said before, if you're going for the unlimited, like original print, just don't do that. Go get the reprint secret rare if you're like wanting to like get cheaper copies. But preferably you just get the first edition original print. Near mint here, $8.69. There's really not many stacks here. The first, couple copies we see for the first edition is this lightly played, $8.80 a piece. We'll see if anybody has like a play set here. Not so far. There's really not a lot of these around, to be honest with you. Okay, one stack here of 3 at $13.25. But I would rather just go pick up a couple of the single like $6 ones lightly played. But I think this card is great to have long term. I mean, because not only does it have like the playability aspect, which is always important for competitive cards, but it also has the artwork. Having these 3 iconic monsters in them, or not monsters. One's 2 of them are spells, but you get what I'm saying. Like 3 characters. So I would just go ahead and get these while they're cheap. If you want, we can look at the reprint too, but I think that the reprint secret rare is around the same price, maybe like $1 cheaper. Actually, I did not mean to click on that. I hate when like the screen adjusts and then you clicked in the wrong spot. But the reprint here is $7.18, so it's more expensive than the original. So just go get the original. But you do have more stacks of these near mints here for $7.90. I don't think that's bad, but like I said, I would stick with the original print over getting this for sure. But other than these 2 secret rares, there's only a gold rare, and then you just have commons and rares. Stay away from the gold rare. You don't want to get yourself mixed up in that. And then the other thing to note between the 2, like in between these 2 printings is when they switch the first edition from being in this, upper corner right here to down the bottom. So that is like a noticeable difference between the 2. I really liked it when they had the first edition, up above the text box, a lot more than how they have it now. I don't know why. I guess that's just like nostalgia. But that's all I have for y'all today. I hope y'all have a good day. I will, I'll probably be gone this weekend because it's my girlfriend's birthday. So unfortunately, I probably won't be filming. We're probably going to be pretty busy out and about doing stuff. But next week for sure, we'll be posting a lot more market watches. But thanks for watching, guys. I will see y'all later.